From financing their first album for around $600 to having an album on the Billboard's 200 for 253 weeks straight, Nirvana is a band that all should know about. Mental Floss would also go on to say that Nirvana was thrown out of their own recording party. This should kind of tell you what kind of band that they are. Being the largest grunge band in the 90s, this is a popular type of music around that time, it is important for all music lovers to know about them, as many of the music we listen to today comes from Nirvana roots. They were known for putting on one of the best shows of all times with their lead singer, Kurt Cobain. And to give a brief history of Nirvana, from Nirvana.com, they said that they formed in December of 1988. In 1991, they had their first gold album. 1992, Nevermind hits number 1 on the Billboard 200, taking over Michael Jackson, which is a huge feat to go up all the way to number 1 most sold album, and this album was the album to stay on for 253 weeks. And they would continue on to do all of these feats to perform live concerts until the year 1994, so they had a total of a 6-year span. Some feats that they accomplished were to sell 52 million albums, and for some bands that doesn't really sound like that much, but seeing as this was they were only alive over the span of 6 years and had, 3 studio albums, that is an incredible amount to sell. And if you actually look at their albums, from live albums to compilation albums, as a widespread thing, we look closer to around 100 million albums sold. And they would go on to produce 8 music videos, with their most popular being Smells Like Teen Spirit, which was what drove America crazy about Nirvana. Now, sadly, Nirvana had to come to an end when on April 5th, 1994, Kurt Cobain committed suicide. Many people have associated this suicide to be about him on drugs, and he used a shotgun, and so it's a very touchy subject to many Nirvana fans. He would go on to leave a suicide note to his wife, daughter, and fans, which is a little too in-depth to go into in this brief speech, but it is definitely a good look if you're ever looking into Nirvana. Nirvana is just an all-around awesome band to listen to. They're a little bit on the rock-heavy side, and they can get a little crazy, and obviously they were a little bit into the drugs, but they are a wonderful thing to watch. And to show you what kind of person Kurt Cobain is, I actually have a poster here rocking out on the guitar. He was, and those were the kind. I encourage you to take a look into Nirvana, as they are a band who has greatly influenced me.